Hi, I'm Hetty Bryant, and this video is about Assessment 2, Your Leadership Challenge, Part 2, for MGT599. So, the value of this assessment is 30%. It's due on the 5th of April. However, I am aware of the time involved in getting you back your Assessment 1, Part 1, for this. So, we may be able to negotiate an extension for Assessment 2 for up to a week. So that'll be about the 12th of April. Okay, we can work that out as we go along. The return date will still be the 1st of May. The length is 2,000 and you submit through EASE. And we can't read all of that, but the assessment asks you to do a number of tasks. First of all, you have to, from your feedback in Assessment 1 and the theories of leadership in Module 1, identify your implicit leadership theories, they're your ILTs, and how they inform how you will lead others in responding to your challenge. So you've looked in Assessment 1, you've identified a leadership challenge, you've talked about how you felt in that challenge, you've gone through your emotions, you've gone through your reactions, you've really unpacked what that challenge is about, and particularly in the context of you. Then I'll give you some feedback, and you will then write this up, looking at your implicit leadership theories. So what are the theories of leadership that you have that are implicit? Okay, so that means some of us believe in, for instance, a charismatic leadership. So we believe that the best leaders are ones who are charismatic, who actually give direction, vision, etc. Some others really prefer a leadership style, or their belief is that leadership should be more inclusive and that leadership should be shared. Other people have a very gendered approach to leadership. So some people feel that a more authoritarian, masculine approach to leadership is not something they want, or it may be something that they do feel comfortable with, or you might feel that you'd prefer a more feminine perspective of leadership. So we have implicit leadership theories, and we need to surface those so we understand what they are, so that they can inform how we lead others and how we will respond to challenges. Okay? And how we can adjust how we lead as well. So the second task is to identify the leadership practices and approaches. So we call these interventions. So what things are you going to put in place? What practices and approaches? How are you going to intervene in this particular challenge to make it change, to make it go in a different direction, to have more positive outcomes, to have outcomes even? So what approaches are you going to use that you will be using to address this challenge, and how these practices and approaches will enhance your own leadership development? So this is about self again. So note, these will be refined as you learn more about practice in the subject. So you'll start to learn from some of your readings about different ways of practicing. Some of you are already quite seasoned practitioners, and you will have some approaches that you're using that work quite well. You can write about those. We can interrogate what that means, what they are. Okay? And then always doing a reflection and a conclusion on the lessons learned about leadership theory and practice. So we're bridging the gap between theory and practice. Okay? So you're going to learn a lot of theory, but how do you actually put that into practice in the context of your challenge? You need to apply. So it's about application. It's not about writing about a case study and a scenario and it's out there. It's about your own leadership challenges and about your own practice and how you apply that in the workplace or in the community to actually change what's happening. So the rationale for this is that selecting a practice-based opportunity to experiment and experience leadership is the rationale for this assessment. The assessment asks you to reflect upon your own ILTs in the context of your workplace, organisation or a community leadership challenge. Being able to descriptively articulate your IELTS provides you with resources to consider your own role and the possibilities for action that you can lead. So this is about action, as I said before, and application. And this is a prerequisite activity for your final assessment. So don't take your eye off the ball. You need to be doing this as we go along in this assessment, this subject. This is a double subject, and you need to be able to, there's a lot more that you have to do in a double subject than they do in a singular subject. So you need to be able to be practicing and applying some of these practices in your workplace as you're going along and recording those. So jump forward to assessment 4 to understand what's required at the end, okay? Information will be required in that final assessment. So the marking criteria, always look at the marking criteria. So the first criteria is demonstrating an understanding of IELTS and their application to practice, okay? So to get a high distinction, you really have to draw from the literature beyond the subject readings to develop a sophisticated understanding of what IELTS are. You have to demonstrate critical research, analysis and synthesis skills. So that's beyond description. That's going much deeper, comparing and contrasting different literature, different theories, using ideas and principles beyond those introduced in the subject, use of scholarly conventions, your argument flows, you write with clarity and accuracy of spelling, grammar, attribution and referencing. So you need to attribute what you're writing about to the literature. Then we work all the way down, and to get a credit, your report will be well informed by the subject readings, and you go beyond the key text. If you want anything higher than a credit, you have to really look more broadly, okay? The pass is more descriptive, as I said before. So you're getting into a more descriptive, and also there might be some frequent errors in or omissions in your spelling or your grammar, and your referencing may be inaccurate, would be inaccurate as well. For a fail, you don't use any of the scholarly conventions, so you're not doing the academic referencing, etc. There's a lot of errors in your spelling, etc., in your writing, and I would be recommending you go and see an academic literacy, learning and numeracy advisor, as per the advice we had in our first online session, and as per the second assessment as well. So the second assessment criteria is the identification of leadership practices and approaches, interventions. So you're actually going to have to say, what are you going to do to respond to that challenge? Okay? You actually have to put that in there. Work through the criteria again. Then the final thing you have to do is always reflect and conclude on the learning. So what have you learned about leadership theory and practice in the context of this challenge? So your reflection is in the first person. The whole assessment should be in the first person. Don't write, this paper is going to say this author says this or that. Some of you will write that anyway, I know. I prefer it if you don't write that. When you get to the reflection, though, it has to be in the first person. It has to be in the I, because this is about yourself. This is about reflecting about you and your own practice. So the presentation, we'll go back to that. Please provide your report in a Word document, not PDF, in order, okay? So in the following order: a title page that has your assessment, your subject, your name and student number, and a URL link to your CSU ThinkSpace. It has to have sections, headings that respond to those 3 tasks, okay? You can't go wrong if you have section headings that have each of those 3 tasks in order. Don't forget to look at the APA referencing style, and remember this is a prerequisite for the final assessment. So if you have any further questions, consider posting your questions first of all to the assessment forum, and some of you are already... Sorry, we had a bit of a break there. I hit a button. So you can also email me or phone. Best to email, and I'll respond to you within 3 days or less, 3 working days. And I wish you well with this assessment. However, we'll also be looking at the challenges on the assessment forum, etc. So you'll have much more scaffolding than just this video, okay? But this is a really good start for you. Cheers.